Okay, some interesting developments. This is what we like.
Oh no.
Where's he actually pushed us to?
No.
Yeah, the big question is, if Lily is still alive, then Sadness wasn't a ghost. It was part... I'm hoping that will make some sense as we go forward.
This is it. The place from my dream. I've walked this path 1,000 times in my mind. I know every inch of it. But this time, something is different.
Yes, you're being watched by the player. Interesting, rather haunting use of music. Also, the camera's pulled slightly back to give us this winding shot. In fact, this is kind of one of the first times we've had a proper moving camera. I mean, we've had it occasionally when it's got stuck on something. So it shows it is dynamic.
So clearly now.
The question is going to be, is the game going to end very soon on some kind of dramatic moment? Because I've seen games and, of course, movies and stories in many mediums doing something similar. And would that feel... There we go. Why is she... Ah, it's a butterfly, isn't it, on a necklace? And Lily's got the other half. Wonder how alike they look. Ooh. Wonder how long she's been out.
Finally made it. Lillian, I've been waiting for you, little sister.
Lily, I didn't know. I couldn't remember. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It was better that way.
Don't look alike at all.
You had a
Well,
life. For a while.
wow, she is.
That day when the fire
does have the
broke
necklace
out
on.
at our house, I made a deal. The part of my soul that was tormented was set loose.
Which is more.
You mean the monster? But why?
To save you. It helped us escape the flames, but in return, I had to set it free. Free to devour, to destroy, to kill.
The Neva massacre.
Yes. All those people died so that we could live.
Wow. No wonder sadness.
Because I lived, so did my demons. Father knew my powers were too dangerous.
The fact that she's pallid as
I
well.
left you at the hospital, so you could have a normal life.
Well, that hasn't worked very well, has it?
You. Did he try to...
No. Maybe he should have. But he couldn't bring himself to do it.
So the stuff at the
Instead,
lake,
He locked me away.
that's what he was going to do?
But he
But
only
he
delayed
didn't?
the inevitable. Monster. It got out.
It's so interesting that they haven't mentioned Moore's name yet.
And now you're here. You're the only one who can fix this.
How?
You. We both share our father's gifts, but also his fate. And the dream.
The dream? But... all I see is a girl. You. Shot dead. Here, on this pier. Hasn't it already happened?
No.
Oh.
It's not the past you see. The dream. It's what I want to happen.
What?
Oh.
It all ends in me.
But... no! No!
You can't send a spirit away while the host is still alive. That's why you couldn't destroy the monster. That's why Sadness didn't want to go.
But... you're my sister.
That's why it has to be you. I'm not strong enough. It won't let me. Only you can end this. Only you can fix what our father could not.
Lillian, I can't. Please, don't make me do this.
It's the only way to destroy it. To prevent further bloodshed.
Lily? Oh!
Marianne? What's going on?
Skin suit. No, too small. Constricting. Outgrown.
Interesting that Sadness and Lily aren't actually
Right. Almost gone.
the same. That's a cool.
Yet, but it's getting there.
You're wrong. There is another way.
Marianne. No.
What is she doing? It changes nothing.
It's like you said. I'm your only chance. Aren't I? You need me. A medium strong enough to sustain you. The others? They only lasted for so long before you broke them down.
Marianne, please. I don't want
Maybe
this.
it's not your choice. Maybe this is my story after all. No! Don't do this!
Please, sister. Set me free.
Wow,
No!
that is a.
Stay back! Stay back!
All has to be you. It has to be you. It has to be you.
It'll never stop killing.
Finish this.
Only you
can end this.
You can't always save everyone, Butterfly.
So the gunshot at the lake where I thought that was her. Right back at the start.
It all starts with a dead girl.
Can't always save everyone. Yeah. The lead up to that final decision was it's weird. In some ways, it feels very, very sudden. But actually, of course, it's not. And the more I think about it, the more I should have expected this resolution. Because all the way through, Moore has been saying that he wants to wear us, that we are strong enough. And therefore, it should have been a natural conclusion that the only way to stop it would be to kill ourselves. The issue with that has been the fact that Moore kept coming back, and the revelation that it was tied to a person in the real world and therefore couldn't be destroyed was very, very late in the day, and therefore it was a good fake out, narratively speaking. So that it could, have... Oh, Troy Baker did the voice for Moore. Yeah, it was a good fake out in that sense. I suspect a lot of people will be of the opinion that that was an anticlimactic ending. It's a very tragic ending, realistically. It's an incredibly tragic ending, and I suspect the more we think about it, the more I will be saddened and perhaps disappointed by that ending. But in terms of a natural conclusion, so that Lily Ann could go free and that she could live, a sisterly sacrifice like that is a good development. But equally, as the protagonist who we've spent so much time with versus Lily Ann, who we've had very little time with indeed, it's therefore quite natural to feel a certain sense of disappointment. Because our character, our protagonist, doesn't survive, unless there's going to be some kind of after credits sequence, but that might, that would probably take away from the impact of that. I do wish I hadn't had to take that couple of weeks for the game to be patched. I feel like if I was to have played the game not all in one go, but in a shorter space of time, the lead up to this ending and the way the endings worked would sit slightly better with me. And likewise, the technical issues and the performance problems that the game has had remind me that I'm playing a video game, as opposed to letting me immerse myself in a story. And I've really enjoyed the story. And I've liked the tragic ending, because I like tragic endings. I'm an English teacher and a writer. there's something to be said about a tragic ending that not a lot of media goes with the tragic ending, because it's a harder route to pull off successfully. It's a harder route to pull off, let alone a harder route to pull off successfully. But it leads the audience to this particular feel of almost disappointment, of being let down. Because at the end of the day, we like happy endings. We like our stories to end happily. That, video game stories especially are a form of escapism from what some people would argue is the tragedy of the real world, where we can't alter things. Yeah. Yes, I suspect there will be a number of people, probably a significant number of people, that will be frustrated with that ending. Straight back to the menu, or is there... The Medium is our biggest and most ambitious game that we... The Medium is our biggest and most ambitious game that we have made so far. Is the biggest and most ambitious game that we've made so far. It's a close and personal project that was years in the making. We poured our souls into it, and we've made a lot of great memories during the development. I will review later. Sorry, you can't see it. There's an option to review now behind me. I don't know what that's going to open up in, but considering the technical side of the game, I don't want to just minimize it now whilst I'm recording. Maybe later. Interesting that they ask you to review the game before this. So, was that Thomas? I guess that must have been Thomas leaving. But that's obviously designed to be suitably ambiguous, because we don't know what's happened to Thomas in the real world. All we know is that Spirit Thomas can't feel his presence anymore. The implication is that he's dead, but we don't know. So in theory, that has left it open for a continuation of the story. And there are a lot of loose threads. The biggest issue that I have got with this ending, as shocking and tragic as the ending seems to be at this point, it also has a similar element of tragedy to what I thought Life is Strange had. And I never really got to speak about this because I absolutely love Life is Strange as a game. And I may have mentioned, well, I haven't mentioned it in this series, but I've mentioned before that I chose the ending where Chloe survives. And I chose that ending because of the nature of the trauma. And actually, I made some notes on it way back when I played the game, but it essentially boiled down to what Chloe and Max had gone through. If you were to no, I can't remember exactly what I wrote, but it was trauma, and that brings me to my point about this. As tragic as the ending could potentially be seen to be for us as players and our protagonist, assuming our plan as Marianne works, Lillian on the pier has just watched her sister commit suicide. Now, she understands why Marianne has done that. She may even be appreciative of the sacrifice because she is now free of more. But she still just watched her sister commit suicide. And as far as she knows, her father is dead. She's been locked away for however many years with no contact with the outside world whatsoever. She is traumatized in all manner of ways. It wouldn't surprise me I'm trying to think what and I know using logic when it comes to analysing a story like this isn't necessarily exactly how it would work. You know, Marianne killing herself doesn't get rid of more. It means that more can't escape, but it doesn't actually stop it. It stops its end game, its ultimate goal of being able to wreak havoc wherever, but it doesn't actually stop it finding other lesser mediums and possessing them and, doing what it's been doing. So it's a temporary well, no, it's not a temporary fix. It stops its end game, but it doesn't actually stop it in the short term. And I think, therefore, the problem, such as it is with this ending, is that in the long term, it solves the problem. In the short term, it doesn't. And in terms of what it does for Lily as a person, I know she's a character, she's constructed, etc., English teacher, but in terms of the actual character, she's already depressed, unhinged, willing to sacrifice herself, but she couldn't do it herself. It just makes me wonder whether Marianne's sacrifice may potentially have been in vain. And the scene at the end there is obviously setting up the possibility that the story isn't over. You don't get after credit sequences like that, especially mysterious ones, if you're not setting up for the potential of more of this to come if it does well. Would I be interested in playing a sequel to this as Lillian, where we have to help Marianne cross over and go to her rest? potentially, but I suspect that would be a very small part of it. The thing is, I'm not entirely sure where they could go from here in terms of storytelling. You know, obviously I'm assuming that was Spirit Thomas with the watch that left, that was able to get away. Yeah, maybe there's more significance to it that I've just not twigged or missed. But yeah, the fact that the story ended like that, with a certain degree of tragic open-endedness, definitely makes me feel like that they've got some potential ideas for where they could go from here to turn it perhaps into a franchise. Assuming the sales are there. Would I be sad if I didn't get a sequel? No, not really. And I liked Marianne as a character. She was plucky and empathetic and self-sacrificing and yeah, she was likable, which is of course why this ending is more tragic, because she was a good person. Yeah, but I'll undoubtedly kind of mull this over in my head for a while. It has to be said that the ending for Life is Strange had a much greater emotional impact on me. You know, in some ways, the games are quite similar. They're both about a person with supernatural powers who has to fight against their fate, and you get a choice at the end of Life is Strange, which you didn't here. You know, the choice is made for you, unless there's an alternate ending. Where, you know, because I've not looked at the achievements. Obviously, they've been popping up all over the place, but I haven't actually checked them. And again, I'm not going to whilst this is playing, because the frame rate's all over the shop anyway. But yeah, I'll leave a note up above my head if there is an alternate ending, if there's something different that we could have done. But I suspect that is the story they wanted to tell. And for the most part, it was told well. It will be interesting to see if they could have told it with more gameplay. Because there's not a lot of game here, in the sense of you're not doing a lot of playing. There's a lot of story. There are some light puzzling elements. Obviously, there's no combats. It was more of a kind of a narrative experience, which I'm fine with. You know, I didn't pay for this. This is the Xbox Game Pass version. If it hadn't been on the Xbox Game Pass and I had paid for this, I would still feel that I would got value for the price. I know a lot of people will almost certainly disagree with that. I don't know how long the game has actually been, but it's been a reasonable chunk of gameplay as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, I'm pleased with that. I've spoken for like 10 minutes or something now, so I'm going to end that there. That, folks, is the medium. And again, I'll have put annotations above if there's anything else that I've thought about by the time I come to edit this together. An enjoyable experience. Tragic, interesting story, plenty of questions answered. A lot of my predictions about what was happening in the story turned out to be reasonably on the mark. Some weren't, which is good because I don't want to. I wouldn't have liked the story to be massively predictable. Yeah. Medium. Recommend it. Recommend it. Thank you all very much for watching, folks. Hope you have enjoyed this series. Stay safe out there. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of the medium, and especially what you thought of the ending, especially the after credits scene. Was that a reference to something that I've missed? Was that Spirit Thomas? Is there more to it than that, do you think? Do you think they're setting up for a sequel? Let me know. Stay safe. Cheerio. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, why not click the like button and consider subscribing. Remember, you can ring the bell notification icon to get notified when new videos go live. And until next time, cheerio.